Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and today I have another dupe video for you, but today's video is a bit different than usual because I found these little palettes in my drugstore. These are from Catrice. This one here is called 5 in a Box Mini Eyeshadow Palette, and this one here is in the color 020 Soft Rose Look, and I think that they have 5 different ones of them. So mine is looking like this. It's the more, like the name says, it's the more rosy one. And then they also have a more cool toned one and a warm toned one, and then 2 other ones that I don't own. So this one here is the warm toned one, and this one here is the cool toned one. So this is what all the 3 of them are looking like, and as you can see, I've had these 2 in a project pan and I already hit pan on them. This one here is a bit of a spoiler, I'm sorry for that, I have already pan in this shade here. When I saw them in my drugstore, I immediately thought about the Natasha Denona Mini Eyeshadow Palettes because I just bought one a few weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago, and then I don't know, about a week later, I walked into my drugstore and there were these mini palettes from Catrice. So I'm just quickly showing you my Natasha Denona Mini palette. I have this one here, it's the Mini Retro palette. I fell in love with the color story and I always wanted to try Natasha Denona. So I went for a mini palette first, just that I know that I really like the formula and because I really love this color story, and yes, I just wanted to get to know her eyeshadow formula a bit better. When I saw these Catrice palettes, I immediately felt like they were meant to be dupes for the Natasha Denona palettes because the packaging, the size, I don't know, the pen size, the color stories, everything is so similar. So let's take a closer look to the one that I think is maybe a dupe for the Mini Retro palette. So here you can see them side by side. I mean, of course, they're not the exact same colors, but I think that they kind of dupe the vision behind these palettes from Natasha Denona because, I mean, the packaging is so similar. I hope that you can see that. So both have these plastic packaging. They're almost the exact same size, not exactly. I think this one is a tiny bit bigger. I think the pan size of the eyeshadows is almost the same size. Now let's see if there's the same amount of product in there. So this one here contains 4 grams of product and this one here contains the exact same amount of product. So I'm pretty sure that they wanted to dupe Natasha Denona. I mean, I think that if you are in the makeup world and you're on Instagram and you're posting about your makeup releases and everything, I think that you have heard of Natasha Denona and that you know their format and their products. I don't know. I can't imagine that Catrice didn't know what they were doing, but I mean, I don't have anything against dupes. I love dupes because I'm on a budget always, and I really love dupes because I can't afford all the high-end, very expensive makeup, but I do want it. So I really like having dupes because I can't afford all the high-end, very luxurious and very expensive makeup. So I'm always glad to find a dupe, and I would say if the dupe has a good quality, then I don't have anything against it. And I mean, of course, they didn't dupe the exact color stories. I think that the closest dupe that I have for a Natasha Denona Mini palette is the warm toned one here. I think this one here is the closest dupe for a Natasha Denona Mini palette, and it's for the Mini Nude palette. I tried to pop up a picture here, and you can see that the color story is very similar. I think the only shade that is really different is that in the Natasha Denona palette, this one here is a shimmer, and in here it's a matte. So that's the only thing. So I don't know what to say. I think that they are very close dupes. But now let's talk about the quality, because I have had them for a while in my collection and I have used them a lot. So I can really speak about the quality of both palettes. This one here is the only palette from Catrice that I haven't used because I think that I'm going to declutter this one and give it to a friend who would really like to use warm tones, but I don't reach for them a lot and I don't need this palette. I just wanted to see, I don't know, how close it is to the Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette. And these palettes from Catrice retail for only, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 euros, so $3 or $4. And the Natasha Denona Mini palette retails for 25 euros. So let's take a look at the quality of these palettes. So I have worked a lot with these two palettes here, and I have also used this one here a lot. So what I can say is that the mattes in these Catrice palettes are beautiful. They're so soft and buttery, and they're so easy to use, and I love them. I also love the colors that we get in here. And now let's talk about the mattes in the Natasha Denona palette, because there are only 2 of them in here, which I do like, and I do prefer 3 shimmers and then 2 mattes. So I do like that more in the Natasha Denona palette, and the mattes are also so buttery and so creamy. So if this is her general formula, it's beautiful. I really do love it. Now the difference is that these two I really have to use a lot more than I have to use these in here. You can almost see no wear on them, although I did use them a lot. And these were so easy to hit pan in, and I don't know why. It's a bit more of a dusty formula, but it's still pigmented. I don't know what it is. This formula here is a bit stiffer, and it's so much more long lasting than the one from Catrice. So these eyeshadows here hold up so much longer than the ones from Catrice. So I prefer the matte formula in this one, but I think that this formula here is great. So I wouldn't say that it's a bad formula by any means. So I really do enjoy the formula in here. I just think that this one here is a tad bit more long lasting. And now let's talk about the shimmers. So I'm not the biggest fan of the shimmer formula in these palettes, although they're all a bit different. Now the shimmers in the Natasha Denona palette are all a different formula. This one here is more on the sheer side, and it has a ton of tiny micro glitter in it, so it's basically a glitter topper. Then this one here is a very rich silver metallic. It's not too foiled, it also has some kind of texture to it and some kind of micro glitter in it. Then this one here feels more like a shimmer. It's not really metallic, and it doesn't have some kind of glitter in it. It's just like a shimmer, I don't know. This one here is very close to this formula here in this Catrice palette. I'm going to swatch them for you. So you can see that it's more like a shimmer. It's not very metallic, not very blinding. It has a nice base to it, and then it has this softer shift to it. And then this one here from Catrice is kind of the same formula. It also feels more powdery, and it doesn't have a strong metallic shift, but it has some kind of sheen to it, so it's also more like this shimmery formula. So they are very close in formula. Then the other two feel totally different. So this is more like, I don't know, it's almost wet feeling, but not really. And this one here has just more grip to it. This one here is very wet looking because it has all these tiny micro glitters in it. And this one has a lot more texture and depth to it. I hope that you can really see that. They are really beautiful. This metallic here I really don't like, and this one here is a bit better. So this one here, I don't know, I feel like I have a lot of heartpan in it already, and it feels like a Morphe shimmer shadow. It has this oily feeling to it, and it's more like of a thicker formula, which I don't like that much. It's looking like this. You can't even really see it. It's not very shiny. I don't know. I really don't like this one. This one here is a lot better. It has more depth to it, but it's also not very metallic. There are also more shimmers. But this one here has more color to it, and for that it's beautiful on the outer corner. You can really use it. I don't know, you have more from it than this one. This one almost doesn't show up. So this blue one here is a lot better, and I like it a lot more because it has this depth to it, and when I shift my hand you can really see that it has a dark base to it. So this one here is a lot better. Now my favorite shimmer in these Catrice palettes is this one here. This is such a creamy and, I don't know, textured metallic. It's so yummy, it's so rich. This one has a way stronger shift than the blue one did, and it is also this very dark, creamy base. So I really enjoy this eyeshadow and I actually use it a lot. I'm usually not a fan of bronzes, but this one here is not really bronze. It's more like a really yummy, dark, chocolatey brown metallic, and it's more on the cool tone side, and it's so beautiful. Oh my god, look at it. It's so rich in color and so creamy. I really do love this one. So these are all the metallics and shimmers. And as you can see, I would say the standout shades are this one here from the Natasha Denona Mini Palette, this one here from the Natasha Denona Palette, and this one here from the Catrice palette. So these three are the strongest, most shifting and, I don't know, richest colors and eyeshadows in these three little palettes here. So I'm just going to clean my hand and then we're going to swatch all the mattes in here. Now I'm going to swatch the shades that are the closest to each other first. So I'm going to start with this one here. This is so smooth. It's almost looking like my skin color. It's very, very pigmented and it's a very strong color. Then I'm going to swatch this one here next. It's a bit different in color because it's more on the mauvey side, and this one, I don't know, has a warmer, almost peachy undertone. So I think you can already see that this one here just has a lot more depth to it than this one. It doesn't mean that this one is a bad eyeshadow because it's also performing very, very nice. I just think that the depth and the richness of these eyeshadows have a lot to do with their staying power. Then next I'm going to swatch the gray. This one here has almost a green undertone, and sometimes you can really see it and sometimes you don't see it at all. So it very much depends on which colors you're going to combine it with. So this is the gray color. It's so rich and so yummy. Now I'm going to swatch this taupey shade here next to it. This one I had in my project pan and I love this eyeshadow. And I think you can really see it also in the swatches. They're just a bit thinner than the ones from Natasha Denona. I'm just quickly going to swatch the other ones as well, so just that you see it. This is the beige one, you almost can't see it, I know. This is a very rich, dark, cool tone chocolatey brown. Then we have the cream shade, and then we have the dark blue, which is also a very nice creamy dark blue shade. So these are all the matte ones swatched. Now let's talk about my final thoughts about these palettes. So I really think that the Catrice palettes are worth the money because they are around $4 and the mattes are creamy. They're not staying, I don't know, they're not staying on for the longest hours, but I don't know, I'm not going anywhere at the moment. So, and still for work, they last long enough so that I can wear them to work. So I think they're totally fine. I'm not the biggest fan of the shimmers, especially in this one here. I don't like this shade at all, but I do like this one a lot. So I think that this one here, the rosy one, is my favorite out of the Catrice palettes. I would highly recommend this one here, although this shade is very, very light. So I don't know if anyone really wants to use a shade like this, but I love it. And I especially love this shade here. So I think for $4, it's even worth this one eyeshadow here. So I don't know, I really do like these, and I think they did a great job in duping the Natasha Denona palettes. I mean, they're not the same and not the exactly same formulas, of course, but they're really good and the quality is really, really good. So I'm so impressed by these. I haven't worn Catrice eyeshadows in such a long time and they got so much better than they ever were before. So I really, really like them. And I think for the price point, they are awesome. Now let's talk about the Natasha Denona palette. So this one here is really a cute and fun little palette. I do love the formula of the matte eyeshadows here. It's so good. And I also do love these two eyeshadows here. The only one that I'm not the biggest fan of is this one here. And I don't know, for $25 for a 5-pan eyeshadow palette, I think that I would need to really love all 5 eyeshadows. It's just my personal opinion. I think that a lot of people might like shimmery shadows like this that are more on the, I don't know, more on the softer side, not so strong metallic, so a bit less intense, but I do love these more glittery shades a lot more, so I would prefer this formula in here. So for me, I would have liked if this shade would be more like this one here maybe, also rich in color and opaque, but a bit more metallic and glittery. So that's the only thing that I would change about this palette, but other than that, I really do like it and I'm glad that I have it. I think the color story is beautiful and it was the best choice for me to pick up this one here over all the other mini eyeshadow palettes from her. So I'm really glad that I have it, but I think if you don't want to spend the money on these palettes from Natasha Denona and you really like the format and how small they are, they're so small. Maybe I'm going to compare them to one of my ColourPop palettes. So just for reference, this one here is a ColourPop 9-pan palette. And this one here is only a tiny bit longer than that. So I hope that gives you some kind of a reference. I don't know if that helps for you, but they are really small and even smaller than I thought they would be. So I really do like the formula of Natasha Denona and I want to try one of her bigger palettes someday in the future. I don't know when, but for now I do like that I have this mini palette and I don't regret buying it because I really do enjoy it. But I really do like the Catrice palettes also a lot. I do really enjoy them. I think the quality is great and I don't know, I really would recommend them to you. If you want a palette in this size and this format and you like the color stories from Catrice, I would say go for it, even if one eyeshadow might be a dud, but the other ones are great. So I would highly recommend these ones. And this one here, I don't know, you have to look. I mean, $25 is kind of a lot for 5 eyeshadows in a palette like this, because usually I can get, I don't know, a bigger palette for $25. So I don't know, but you know, it's luxury makeup and they cost more, so you're kind of paying for the luxury feeling about them, and I don't get a luxury feeling with these, but I do still love them and I do still enjoy them, and I'm so glad that I have them in my palette collection now. So I do love both of them, but I think we have a pretty close dupe here. So let me know down below what you think about them and also what you think about the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of duping, makeup and also project planning, so if you're into that, please hit the subscribe button and I wish you all a beautiful day.